Hello, friends! Imagine a human with the long-standing dream of flying. One ordinary morning, he wakes up. He opens his eyes, moves the window aside, and suddenly sees his neighbor casually lifting off from the balcony and moving through the sky. No airplane, no rope, no equipment, just himself with real wings. At that moment, he says to himself, "So the dream finally came true?" This dream has been one of humanity's oldest desires, freedom in the sky. Because if humans could truly fly, many ground-level problems wouldn't exist at all. There would be no traffic to make people angry in the middle of the street, saying, "Just 5 more minutes," while half an hour later they're still in the same place. No more crowded, suffocating subways where people are packed like cans. Buses would be empty, taxis would be out of work, and fares would no longer stress anyone. Gas stations would turn into museums, and air pollution would largely disappear. In short, cities would breathe again, and people might live a calmer life. But behind this beautiful dream lies a serious scientific truth. The human body is not built for flight. The first and most important barrier is gravity. This invisible force constantly pulls us toward the ground. The heavier something is, the more energy it needs to lift off. That's why insects fly easily. Birds fly well, but larger creatures struggle to even lift off the ground. If Earth's gravity were even slightly stronger, maybe even birds would only run on the ground, and the sky would remain forever empty. Now, imagine humans. After just a few flights of stairs, we're already out of breath. Yet we expect to fly in the sky? Scientists say that if humans really wanted to fly, they would need wings between 6 to 10 meters wide. That means every human would need wings the size of a bus or even a small airplane. Just imagine trying to enter your house like that. There would probably be daily family arguments like, "Fold your wings!" But wings alone wouldn't be enough. The human body would need to change completely. Bones would have to become hollow and lightweight instead of strong and dense like now. Chest muscles would need to become several times stronger because all the power of flight comes from there. The body would also need to become slimmer and lighter because every extra gram in the sky is a serious problem. Maybe flying humans would look like creatures made more of muscle than bone and flesh. We might even grow feathers, because feathers aren't just for beauty. They help the body stay light, aerodynamic, and warm. Imagine waking up in the morning, looking in the mirror and thinking, "My feathers are messy today." Or going to the hairdresser and saying, "Please trim my wing feathers." On top of these changes, the human body would overheat quickly during flight. Flapping wings consumes enormous energy. Muscles are constantly working and producing heat. The body might function like a constantly overheating engine, needing a much stronger cooling system. Inside the body, things would also have to change completely. Birds have something called air sacs, structures like balloons that help lighten the body and absorb more oxygen. If humans could fly, they would probably have these inside their chests too, like a built-in biological balloon system. Even the waste system would need to change. In birds, the body avoids storing liquid urine to stay light, and excretion works differently. If humans were like birds, the bladder might become very small or not exist at all. The result? The sky over cities would always be a high-risk zone. People might say, "Take an umbrella today," not just for rain. Hands would also likely not remain the same. If wings replace arms, you can't do everything like today. Maybe humans would have to use their feet or even structures similar to beaks for tasks. In a strange world, instead of shaking hands, humans might tap beaks. The brain and eyes would also need major upgrades. In the sky, everything is faster and more dangerous. The brain must calculate wind, speed, distance, and balance in seconds. eyes must detect obstacles from kilometers away because a small mistake in the air could mean a fall. Flying humans would also likely be more vulnerable to larger animals, and instead of being hunters, they might mostly run away. They would probably live in mountains and cliffs, since taking off from high places is easier. Cities would be built vertically, massive towers with hundreds of landing platforms. Streets would no longer matter. Height would.
And falling. Gravity would always be waiting. If you get tired, lose focus, or the wind changes, the result could be disastrous. Even sleeping would be a challenge. Maybe humans would rest on cliffs or high ledges so they could take off quickly in danger. Children and elderly people would face major problems. Kids might not learn to fly properly for a long time, and falling would be dangerous. For older people, weakening muscles would gradually take away the ability to fly. A child's first flight might become as important as a child's first steps today. Weather would also become a serious enemy. Strong winds could push people off course, storms would be more dangerous, and rain would reduce visibility. Every morning, people would check wind conditions instead of temperature. Cities would also become full of new dangers. Power lines, tall buildings, antennas, and glass skyscrapers could turn into deadly traps. News might say, "Due to heavy fog, flying over the city center is prohibited today." And eventually, this beautiful dream could turn into a disaster. Imagine millions of humans in the sky at the same time. Air traffic, collisions, falls, fatigue, visual chaos, and constant danger. Eventually, humans might realize that this freedom is not as simple as it seems. In the end, if all these changes happened, we would no longer be modern humans. Bodies with 6 to 10 meter wings, hollow bones, different waist systems, air sacs, feathers, and life in the sky, we would become a completely new species, something between human and bird. And maybe in the end, someone flying through the sky would laugh and say, "Who would have thought the dream of flying would come with so many problems?"